Hi, everyone. Welcome to Entrepreneurship. This is episode number 6, and my name is Curtis Brooks, your entrepreneur coach and transformational speaker. We are talking about all things entrepreneur, all things related to entrepreneurship. And each Tuesday and Thursday, we come to you for about half an hour from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Again, only a half hour to bring you all things about entrepreneur. And what that means is that we're talking about the good and we're talking about the not so good. Let's face it, as entrepreneurs, we certainly understand that it is challenging to meet those goals at times, and yet at the same time, it's very rewarding. That being said, that's why I'm here to help you take the leap into entrepreneurship. Once again, my name is Curtis Brooks, your host and fellow entrepreneur coach and transformational speaker. On today, we are talking about doing more with less. How many of us understand that as entrepreneurs? And how many of us actually have understood it but yet forgotten about it? And on today, I'm here to remind you of that. And also, I have a wonderful surprise for you. I think that you're really going to like it. It's going to benefit the both of us. And as we progress in the show here, I will be talking about that in just a few moments. Right now, I am working on a playlist. And basically what that means is that there are certain segments which allows me to do you can hear me now, or you can see me, where it allows me to do the video and the audio. I'm speaking to you now in certain segments. And then yet when this segment ends, it goes to a advertisement or an advertisement that I put together within this playlist. So it is quite awesome. So again, I want to share more about that in just a little bit, but as we are winding down to within this playlist, you'll see that I'm looking at my screen from time to time to ensure that I'm being mindful of the time that is allotted for this particular segment. And this first segment is about 3 minutes long. So again, this is just something more of the information I want to share with you in just a little bit. So as we're winding down, you'll see the ability, or at least the capabilities of this playlist of what you can do as an entrepreneur. If you've got a product, you want to talk about product placement within your video streams or within my video streams, that's what we're going to be talking about in just a little bit. Don't really want to give it away at this point, but again, as we're winding down, we are looking at 01. All right, we are back, and that's a little bit of something what I want to discuss a little bit later. Again, my name is Curtis Brooks. This is Entrepreneurship show number, or at least episode number 6, and we're talking about all things entrepreneur, all things related to entrepreneurship, the hustle, the bustle, all the things that we have to do to promote our businesses and to promote ourselves as well. Again, facing those challenges, recognizing that there are going to be good days, there are going to be bad days, and there's just going to be those blah days, whatever the case might be. But there are definitely going to be those challenging days. And again, that's why I'm here to help you take the leap into entrepreneurship. Again, we're talking about doing more with less. And I challenged myself with this because I can remember, because right now you're looking at my studio here, and this is me doing my stream here in my studio. And previously, or at least many years before, I didn't have anywhere near the stuff that I have in this room. And I found myself doing more with less. And how many times as an entrepreneur do we consider that? Do we think about how we did more with less? And it gets to a point where we are trying to do less with more, meaning that we've got all the equipment, we have acquired certain knowledge. Again, looking back, because I'm mindful of the advertisement, the placement of the advertisement within this playlist. So that's again what I want to share with you a little bit later on. But again, as entrepreneurs, it's wonderful to do more with less. But as we begin to enjoy success, the rewards of our waking up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., making sure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing and ensure that we are in the right place as entrepreneurs. Those things are important, but after we have experienced success, how often do we have all the I's dotted, the T's crossed, everything's in place, and now we find ourselves doing less with more? And I don't know about you, but I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I wasn't. And again, I can't speak for you. We've got about 20 seconds left within this playlist, within this segment of our 30-minute show. And it's going to go to an advertisement that I've put together. And that spot can be yours as well. But again, we have so often been trying to do more with less because we've experienced success. All right, we are back again. They are just short snippets of my video along with music that I've put together. Again, that's more of what I want to discuss as it gets later on throughout the show. Again, we're talking about doing more with less. And as an entrepreneur, that is our goal. That is the goal, or at least the thing that we need to remember, because as I was saying before our short break, as entrepreneurs, we started off doing more with less. And that was the goal because we didn't have all the pieces. And as I mentioned moments ago, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And that's okay because I understand that if you look at the tip of a pinhead, that is the amount of people that were actually born rich, or at least were wealthy growing up. And outside of that, you've got the rest of the world. So it's okay. And I'm not necessarily trying to compare myself, but I want us to understand that it's okay to start from small beginnings. And that's what we do as entrepreneurs. We start from small, meager beginnings. And it's okay. And the wonderful thing about starting from small, meager beginnings is that you don't forget where you came from. Or at least you should not be forgetting where you came from. But from time to time, that's exactly what we do. We forget where we have come from. We have been so engrossed with being successful. And when we reach that level of success, guess what? All of a sudden, we forget that we were doing more with less. And again, I'm looking at my Facebook page and also trying to monitor the time as well. We're talking about doing more with less. We're talking about really taking it back to the basics as entrepreneurs. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be eating ramens or anything of that nature. Or, again, some of us have started that way. And I would venture to say most of us have started that way. I'm sure Jeff Bezos has started that way. Again, most of the really just powerful entrepreneurs are just successful entrepreneurs have started that way, started from meager beginnings. So don't bother yourself with the intricate details of life and saying, oh, I need this. And again, most of us have started from the place where we, in fact, are doing more with less. But again, as we experience that success, that level of success, and again, that is going to definitely be subjective because everyone's level of success is going to be different. But to some degree, as we experience that level of success, we have a tendency to forget that we started with less. And with less, we were able to do more with less. And now we try to find ourselves, or at least we find ourselves doing less with more. How much stuff do we need? And that brings me into just the idea of thinking that how life will bring, or at least permit, challenges to come into our lives. And sometimes we're wondering where those challenges come from. Perhaps there's something that we are dealing personally or something seemingly out of our control. We're talking about doing more with less. And again, when challenges come in our lives, we sometimes wonder, where did this come from? Where did this challenge come from? What is this about? What did I do to the gods, if you will? What did I say? Who did I hurt? And the challenges come, but they come for a reason. They come for the very reason to perfect us. Because if it were not for the challenges, would we be on this journey to entrepreneurship? Most of us wouldn't. Most of us wouldn't lift a finger, and that's the truth. So challenges come to, again, bring us really out of our comfort zone. And I think that's the powerful thing about doing more with less. And doing more with less, we forget sometimes, especially when we begin to meet success. Waking up at the wee hours of the morning when everyone else is asleep, when your family is asleep. Going out there, doing what you have to do, getting your hustle on as an entrepreneur. So remember, doing more with less is what we're striving for, because I think it keeps us fresh. It keeps us fresh in the know, if you will, meaning that it keeps us on our toes. And there's nothing wrong with being kept on your toes, because when we're not being kept on our toes, when we don't have those challenges, I think that's when we need to start looking around and paying attention and say, okay, what's happening? I haven't met a challenge yet. And again, it doesn't mean that we're going out looking for trouble, but it means that we are to be mindful and to really be alert. I like to say, stay alert, stay alive. That's the reality of life. Stay alert, stay alive. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a mom at home, whether you're a father and business, whether you're working for someone, doesn't matter. Stay alert, stay alive. We've got to stay on top of what's happening in the world. We've got to stay on top of our business. We've got to stay on top of just the life that we are desiring to take hold of. And in most cases, that life desires or commands us to do more with less. And again, looking back here at my screen here, we've got some product placement within our playlist here. And that's why I keep looking back and being mindful of the time. They're just short snippets. Again, that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit later as we... All right, we're back. Again, that's what I want to talk about, the product placement that I've placed within this video. And for now, it's my product and services that I offer. And that place could be yours as well. And again, I will get more in detail with this a little later. Again, it's talking about product placement, but for now we're talking about doing more with less. This is episode number 6, and this is entrepreneurship. And that is simply the title of the show, Entrepreneurship, Doing More with Less. Episode number 6. My name is Curtis, your entrepreneur coach and transformational speaker here with our show, Entrepreneurship. We're talking about doing more with less. And again, as we seek to get back in that place of doing more with less, we're really, at will saying, you know what? I want to subject myself to this place so that I know, or at least I don't want to experience any deficiency. And I think that deficiency is okay for a season. But when we know that life brings us these different turns, these curves, these straightaways, and these different surprises in life, guess what? I'm going to be mindful of that and say, you know what? On this day, I'm not going to be so comfortable. I'm going to choose not to get so comfortable and think that this success is going to last forever. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with success. But in order to be successful, meaning the word be also means always, in order to remain successful, and in order to have that success be sustainable, we must also, again, be mindful that we've got to stay alert to stay alive. And how do we stay alert? How do we stay alive? We've got to be mindful of doing more with less. Taking it right back to the basics. Again, taking it right back to the basics. It's important, folks, that we remain humble. And I listened to a message a while ago by Bishop T.D. Jakes, and I think it was from a series that he did called This Is That. And he spoke about how when he was a youngster or a young preacher, how that at the end of a message, he would have people or other fellow pastors and or members of the churches, hey, pastor, good job, good job, good job. And he said in a message when I was listening is that you have to be careful with that, because people unintentionally can push you in a place where you get too comfortable, where we start essentially feeling ourselves and getting our chest all poked out and hoping that or believing that this success is going to last forever. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with success. But sometimes, and people effort to encourage you, if we're not mindful here, again, trying to keep a humble attitude, if you will, takes nothing away from being successful, but trying to remain humble. If we're not careful, we can easily fall into a place where we leave the place of being alert and easily cross the line, because it truly is a thin line. It's a fine line. We can easily cross that line, if you will, and begin to get big heads about who we are, and eventually fall into a place, or at least enter a space, where we forget to do more with less. Your humility, your level of humbleness is about doing more with less. Again, we are working within a playlist, everyone. Again, we're talking about doing more with less. My name is Curtis Brooks, your entrepreneur coach and transformational speaker. And as we progress within the show here, I will again be talking more about what I want to share with you, and that is going to be product placement, an opportunity for you to place your product within this very broadcast. And again, we are broadcasting 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Time each Tuesday and Thursday. I'm broadcasting out of Fort Worth, Texas. And your product or your service that you offer has an opportunity to stream all over the world, not just your small circle, but for the views that I've established and for the individuals who will watch your video, if not now in this moment, but later on, as the video will be on demand. So that being said, we'll discuss that a little bit later. Again, we're talking about doing more with less here on Entrepreneurship. Again, that is the title of our show, simply Entrepreneurship. It's all things entrepreneur. It's the challenges, it's the good times, it's celebrating you, it's celebrating our wins, but it's also recognizing where we sometimes have missed it. So you guys are absolutely more than welcome. Leave your comments, ask questions away. I'm actually looking at the stream here on my MacBook Pro, another laptop that I have just to the left of me, looking for any comments that you might have. But nevertheless, you are more than welcome to leave your comments here. And I thought I was going to have another product placement. It's something that I need to fixed there. But nevertheless, we are continuing on. We're talking about doing more with less. Doing more with less. Do you remember? Do you remember for me and my family, it was the Spam sandwiches. And till this day, I don't like Spam. But nevertheless, it worked. Doing more with less. And I want to venture out and say, we've got to have that same attitude, that same mentality, that same mindset, if you will. Not a mindset of that we're poor, but yet a mindset of humility. You can be humble. It doesn't mean that you're poor. You just remember where you come from. You remember how to do more with less. Do you remember? I remember. And your situation may not be my situation, and that's okay. But there needs to be a humbling experience. There needs to be. Because if we don't have those humbling experiences, we'll be just like Bishop T.D. Jakes mentioned in a message that I listened a while ago. That pastor who receives the attaboys from other pastors or members of the congregation, and all of a sudden you get to become a big head and feeling proud of yourself and thinking that you did it and, oh, I did this and I did that. And that thinking sometimes, in most cases, it's the very thinking that really knocks us off our square. So essentially, there is a place for you as an entrepreneur. There are many, many opportunities out there for you as an entrepreneur. Absolutely. Many opportunities out there for all of us. But will we take hold of those opportunities? Will we recognize that doing more with less is my ideal of lifestyle? Because I don't get comfortable. You won't get comfortable in doing more with less. The options, the opportunities are out there. We always have an option or opportunity to get more, get more, get more, get more. And sometimes having more is really not about it. It's really learning how to be sufficient with what you have. That's truly what it's about. And it doesn't mean that we get complacent. That's not what I'm talking about. Not talking about any level of complacency. But again, being alert and staying alive. Doing more with less. That's where you want to be at. That's where I want to be at as an entrepreneur. Doing more with less. Recognizing that the less that I have, the more that I can do. Because I'm relying not on me, but I'm relying on the very essence of God. And perhaps some of that doesn't appeal to many of you. And it's okay. But I recognize that as an entrepreneur, there is no way in the world that I could have come to the place that I'm currently at right now in life just in my own strength, just in my own ability. I am not that great. I've learned many things by the mouths and the hands and the things that people have given me, the things that people have shared with me. And I'm sure that's the case with you. And I'm sure that's the case with all of us. But whether we choose to give thanks, that's up to you. This is how I give thanks, as learning to do more with less, or at least remembering how I did more with less. Because as an entrepreneur, or at least not even just an entrepreneur, if you're working for someone, if you're desiring to become an entrepreneur, desiring to start your own business, it's perfectly understandable how we all have challenges. We all have challenges. And it's perfectly again, understanding that in our challenges, in the midst of our challenges, we're desiring to be in a different place. When we are without, we desire to have more. If I had more, I could do more. But truly, more is not always the best place. Because, again, in most cases, most of us have come up from the bottom to become successful. And it started with less. Again, my name is Curtis Brooks. We're talking about doing more with less. We've got, at least I think we should have another product placement coming within about 30 seconds. Again, my name is Curtis Brooks, your entrepreneur coach and transformational speaker. We are talking about doing more with less. And I'm also an entrepreneur. Yes, I coach individuals who are desiring to go into entrepreneurship, to start their businesses. Again, I do all those different things. I have a gamut of different skills, but nevertheless, I'm also an entrepreneur, so I know what it's like, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm here to help you get. All right, I think I messed up a little bit, but nevertheless, we are really essentially at the end of our broadcast. And again, my name is Curtis Brooks, and I am your entrepreneur coach, host of this wonderful show called Entrepreneurship. This is episode number 6, and we're talking about doing more with less. And before we go off the air again, we are extending this a little bit longer than the 30 minutes that I have allotted for within this playlist here. So that being said, what I wanted to share with you, I wanted purposely to hold it off to the end so that hopefully you will stay, or my goal is to have you stay for the entire broadcast. Nevertheless, what I wanted to share with you is an opportunity to place your product, your service within my broadcast here. And the first 10 people, initially I was going to do 5 people, but the first 10 people who will email me their information, first, let me just share this with you. My email address is going to be bookme, BOOKME at IAMCurtisBrooks.com. Again, that's going to be bookme at IAMCurtisBrooks.com. Email me your interest and placing your product within our broadcast here on Facebook. The first 10 people will be absolutely free. So what we're doing, we will, again, you email me your interest and say, hey, Curtis, this sounds perfect for me. Again, it is absolutely free, no cost to you. I will provide a voiceover for you as well, be it myself or someone else that I have working with on my team. I will provide a voiceover for you. Only thing I would need from you is a script, your product or service that you want to offer. And if you want to have music with your product placement, feel free to add music. I'll make sure that everything syncs together for you. Again, the first 10 people who will email me and just say, count me in. How about that? Enter in the subject field, count me in. Count me in, Curtis. That's what I want you to do. Enter count me in the subject field. Count me in, Curtis, in the subject field of your email. Email me at bookme at IAMCurtisBrooks.com. Again, that's bookme at IAMCurtisBrooks.com. Enter in the subject field, count me in, Curtis. And we're talking about product placement, your product or your service placed within my broadcast. I broadcast here on Facebook each Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Let me know how I can be of service to you. And this is totally a win-win for each of us. And it is a service, but for now, it is a complimentary service for the first 10 people who will email me at bookme at IAMCurtisBrooks.com. Enter in the subject field, Count me in, Curtis. And we're talking about your product or your service placed within my broadcast here on Facebook Live. We will talk with you on Thursday at 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Time. I don't know if I mentioned that. Again, it's going to be Central Time. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, doing my thing here, and we will see you then. Hope to hear from you soon. Ciao.